Hello there, and welcome. It's wonderful to have you join us today. Have you ever stopped to think about the distant past? About the voices of ancient civilizations? The people who lived thousands and thousands of years ago? Perhaps even your own very distant ancestors? We often assume their words, their thoughts, their secrets are lost forever, silenced by the immense gulf of time that separates us. But what if I told you those voices were never truly silenced? What if they were just waiting patiently through the centuries for the right kind of listener, perhaps even the right kind of machine, to finally hear them loud and clear? It might sound like something straight out of a science fiction movie, doesn't it? Yet, believe it or not, it's happening right now, in our lifetime. We're living in a truly incredible era where technology, specifically something called artificial intelligence, or AI for short, is becoming a remarkable key, unlocking doors to the past that have been sealed shut for millennia. Imagine, if you will, AI carefully and virtually unwrapping delicate scrolls that were charred to a fragile crisp by the terrifying eruption of Mount Vesuvius way back in 79 AD, or deciphering strange, almost eerie symbols found etched onto ancient artifacts that are even older than the famous beautiful hieroglyphs of Egypt. These aren't just isolated curiosities. Machines, guided by human ingenuity, are starting to pull back the heavy curtain of history, exposing secrets we honestly thought were gone for good. It's nothing short of a revolution in how we understand where we came from. Now, let's talk about one fascinating example. Consider some very mysterious symbols that have been found scattered along the banks of the mighty Danube River, flowing through lands that today we know as Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania in southeastern Europe. Have you perhaps heard of the Danube script, sometimes referred to as Danube cursive? Please don't worry if you haven't. You are certainly not alone, as most people are unfamiliar with it. But here's what makes it absolutely mind-boggling. Some experts, people who dedicate their lives to studying these things, believe this could potentially be the oldest written language anywhere on Earth. Think about that. We're talking about symbols scratched onto ancient clay tablets and small figurines way back, possibly thousands of years before the ancient Egyptians began carving their intricate hieroglyphs onto tomb walls, or even before the Sumerians over in Mesopotamia started pressing their wedge-shaped cuneiform script into wet clay tablets. For decades upon decades, historians and archaeologists puzzled over these strange markings. They couldn't figure them out. Was it a genuine attempt at communication, a real script holding messages? Or was it simply some kind of artistic flair, just fancy decoration, patterns without any deeper meaning? The arguments went back and forth for years, and then came AI. Researchers decided it was time to try a new approach. They began feeding this ancient, mysterious code, all these puzzling symbols, into highly sophisticated computer programs. These programs are designed for something called advanced pattern recognition. Essentially, they're teaching computers to spot connections, repetitions, and underlying structures that might easily escape the human eye, no matter how carefully we look. And almost like magic, things started to click into place. The AI looked at the shapes, the way they were repeated across different artifacts, exactly where they were placed. And the conclusion? It wasn't random scribbling. The AI revealed that these symbols followed a clear structure, almost like a grammar, a syntax. It uncovered patterns far too complex, far too consistent to simply be coincidence. Now, we need to be clear. We don't have a full translation just yet. Deciphering the meaning is the next giant puzzle piece. But one incredibly important thing became crystal clear thanks to this technology. This was a real, structured writing system. And that realization alone might just rewrite the very timeline of human history as we know it, potentially pushing back the dawn of writing much, much earlier than we ever dared to imagine. Who were these ancient people living along the Danube so long ago, carefully scribbling these cryptic marks while much of the rest of the world was perhaps still figuring out the basics of farming? What secrets were they trying to preserve or communicate? Were they recording sacred rituals, leaving warnings about dangers, or perhaps sharing lost knowledge from a world utterly different from our own? It's like listening to a silent civilization finally finding a way to shout across the ages, screaming out to us from messages scratched onto stone, and thanks to AI, we're finally beginning to hear them. So, the next time someone confidently tells you that writing began in Mesopotamia, you might just gently mention the Danube. They might have a much older claim to that title, leaving behind an ancient code that artificial intelligence is only now painstakingly starting to unlock. What an absolutely incredible thought. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other astonishing secrets are just waiting beneath the surface, ready to be revealed? We'll explore more of these mysteries together, while the Danube script offers a tantalizing glimpse into potentially the very dawn of writing. Other cradles of civilization hold their own damaged or incomplete stories, mysteries waiting to be pieced back together. Let's journey now to ancient Babylon, that legendary land of myths, powerful gods, and influential kings we've all heard tales about. For thousands of years, Babylon was a center of culture and power in Mesopotamia. They left behind countless records written in a script called Akkadian cuneiform, wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay tablets. It's one of the oldest written languages we know. But time has not been kind. Many of these invaluable tablets have been shattered, cracked, eroded by the elements, or have chunks missing entirely, leaving us with frustratingly incomplete glimpses into their world. Imagine trying to read a fascinating book with half the pages torn out. For years, scholars did their best, painstakingly trying to fill in the gaps. But now, artificial intelligence is stepping in with remarkable results. Researchers are using a sophisticated type of AI known as recurrent neural networks. Think of these as AI brains particularly good at understanding sequences like language. By training these AI models on thousands upon thousands of lines of existing intact Akkadian text, the AI learns the patterns, the grammar, the vocabulary, the style. And then it can predict, with what researchers are calling freakish accuracy, what should have been written in the missing or damaged sections of these ancient tablets. We're talking about grand epics, detailed legal codes, and even mystical warnings. Texts once believed lost to the ravages of time, now being digitally stitched back together. It's like a form of digital archaeology. And here's where it gets truly intriguing. Some of these newly restored lines seem to hint at things that sound almost legendary. Tales of pre-flood civilizations, descriptions of forbidden rituals, and accounts of cosmic events that the ancients claimed were sent directly from the heavens. Whether these restored passages reflect actual historical memory or deeply ingrained myths. These ancient voices are echoing through time again in ways nobody quite expected. This isn't just about patching up old stories. AI is helping us potentially rewrite what we thought we knew about the very beginnings of civilization. Babylon, it seems, still has some unfinished business to share with us. From the clay tablets of Babylon, let's travel forward in time and across the desert sands to another set of famous and famously mysterious writings, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Discovered in caves near Qumran decades ago, these ancient texts have long been shrouded in questions. Who exactly wrote them, and why were they hidden away? Now, thanks again to artificial intelligence, we're finally getting some answers, and frankly, they're turning some long-held assumptions on their head. At the very heart of this particular discovery is the Great Isaiah Scroll, one of the most complete and well-known texts ever found in those caves. For the longest time, scholars generally assumed that this beautiful, lengthy scroll was the work of a single, highly skilled scribe. It seemed logical, but AI, it turns out, had other ideas. Researchers developed an AI model specifically designed for ultra-detailed pattern recognition. This AI wasn't just reading the words, it was meticulously studying the tiniest, almost microscopic strokes and curves in the Hebrew handwriting, variations in letter formation, spacing, things far too subtle for the human eye to consistently catch across such a long document. And the result? Boom! The AI analysis revealed quite convincingly that at least two different scribes with distinct, although very similar handwriting styles worked together on this very same scroll. That might sound like a small detail, but in the world of ancient texts, it's a potential game changer. Why does it matter so much? Because it challenges everything we thought we knew about how these incredibly important ancient texts were produced. It suggests not just lone scribes working in isolation, but perhaps organized scribal teams, maybe even shared workspaces or a full-on scroll-writing operation hidden away out there in the Judean desert. And it gets even wilder. The AI also detected subtle shifts within the writing style of each scribe, changes that might indicate shifts in their mood, their purpose, or perhaps even writing under pressure. Could these ancient writers have been subtly hiding messages, embedding secret knowledge just beneath the surface under the radar? It forces us to reconsider the scrolls themselves. Perhaps they weren't just religious writings. Maybe they also served as survival manuals, coded philosophies, or even protest texts written during politically dangerous times. With every scroll that AI analyzes like this, more pieces of this ancient puzzle start falling into place. If AI could figure all this out just from analyzing ink on ancient parchment, imagine what else it might uncover as it examines more of these priceless documents. The Dead Sea was silent for centuries, but now the scrolls are definitely talking, and thanks to AI, we're finally equipped to listen more closely than ever before. Now, imagine scrolls not just hidden in caves, but buried under feet of volcanic ash, burned to a blackened crisp, seemingly lost forever for nearly 2,000 years. Sounds like the definitive end of a story, doesn't it? Well, not anymore. Let's journey to ancient Roman Italy, to the city of Herculaneum, which suffered the same fate as Pompeii when Mount Vesuvius erupted catastrophically in 79 AD. That eruption instantly entombed an entire library, possibly belonging to a wealthy Roman philosopher, under layers of hot ash and volcanic debris. The intense heat carbonized the papyrus scrolls, turning them into fragile, blackened lumps that looked more like charcoal than ancient literature. For centuries, scholars knew these scrolls existed, a potential treasure trove of lost knowledge, but faced an impossible dilemma. Trying to physically unroll these brittle, charred cylinders would inevitably destroy them, turning them to dust. It was a total dead end. Generations of experts could only look at these lumps and wonder what secrets they held. Enter artificial intelligence, paired with cutting-edge imaging technology. Using high-resolution CT scans, similar to medical scans but far more detailed, researchers created thousands of cross-sectional images of the insides of these carbonized scrolls without ever touching them. Then, they used sophisticated machine learning algorithms. They essentially taught the AI to recognize the subtle differences in texture and density between the papyrus layers and the ink remnants within the scanned data. The AI learned how to virtually unwrap the scrolls layer by layer on a computer screen. And guess what? Against all odds, it worked. These once unreadable scrolls are now being decoded, line by painstaking line. What are they revealing? So far, a lot of deep thoughts on Epicurean philosophy, written by thinkers obsessed with life's biggest questions. What is the nature of pleasure? How should we best handle pain and suffering? But here's the twist. It might not just be standard philosophical musings. Some of the passages being recovered hint at potentially radical, perhaps even controversial, takes on mortality, the nature of the soul, and the structures of power, ideas and words that might have gotten someone into serious trouble back in Roman times. So now we're asking, what else is hidden inside this ancient time capsule? The volcano tried its best to silence these voices from the past, but AI just found the volume knob and turned it way up. The Library of Herculaneum is speaking again. Let's return for a moment to Mesopotamia, to that ancient Akkadian cuneiform script we touched upon earlier, the one pressed into clay tablets. We talked about how AI is helping restore damaged texts, but its power goes even further. What if the darkest, most guarded secrets of an ancient empire, one that rose and fell thousands of years ago, were buried not just in damaged texts, but in the sheer complexity of their language itself? And what if, after 5,000 years, machines could finally spill the tea, so to speak? Researchers, including teams from the University of Tel Aviv working alongside leading experts in machine learning, have been using artificial intelligence to decode Akkadian cuneiform with unprecedented speed and insight. Remember, this is a script so ancient it predates the alphabet we use today by millennia. For decades, only a handful of highly specialized scholars around the world could make sense of these intricate symbols. And even for these experts, translating just a single tablet could take months of laborious work. But now, researchers have developed powerful new AI models, training them on thousands upon thousands of existing translations of royal decrees, epic myths, everyday trade records, personal letters, you name it. With these AI systems, decoding a full tablet can now be almost as easy as hitting a button. But here's where it gets truly fascinating and perhaps a little eerie. The AI isn't just translating the words on the surface. By analyzing vast amounts of text, it's starting to reveal insights into how the ancient Akkadians actually thought. It's shedding light on their deepest fears, their complex political maneuvering, their sacred rituals, and even uncovering warnings they wrote about enemies within their own society. It turns out that some of those texts we dismissed as mere myths or legends might have actually been cleverly coded messages. Perhaps warnings passed down about betrayals, impending famine, or even the terrifying possibility of societal collapse. It makes you wonder, were the Akkadians consciously trying to send warnings forward into the future? Or were they simply hiding their own skeletons, their own political intrigues and social anxieties within their complex writings? Either way you look at it, it's becoming clear that our understanding of history just got hacked in a way by machines that can read between the lines of these ancient texts better than we ever could before. The past is speaking, and AI is providing the translation. You know, some secrets weren't just forgotten or buried, they were literally shattered into pieces. Imagine ancient stone inscriptions, perhaps decrees from Greek city-states or dedications in temples, broken and worn down by centuries of weather and wear, with entire sections of text simply wiped away. But now, artificial intelligence is stepping in, bringing these fragmented messages back to life, one broken stone at a time. Let me introduce you to an AI system nicknamed Pythia, developed by researchers from Google DeepMind in collaboration with the University of Oxford. Pythia isn't your average translation tool. No, this digital detective does something even more remarkable. It doesn't just translate ancient Greek, it helps restore it. We're talking about those damaged inscriptions where time, erosion, or even deliberate destruction has obliterated crucial words or entire lines. When faced with such a gap, Pythia steps in. It meticulously studies the surrounding text, analyzes the patterns in the writing style, the grammar, the known vocabulary of the period, and then it predicts what words are most likely missing. Think of it like an expert filling in the blanks on a 2,000-year-old historical crossword puzzle, but with the power of advanced AI. Historians used to spend years, sometimes decades, painstakingly trying to reconstruct even a single damaged line, debating endlessly over the possibilities. But Pythia? This incredible AI can analyze the context and offer dozens of potential restorations, ranked by probability, in mere seconds. And it's not just making wild guesses. Its suggestions are based on deep neural networks, complex AI models inspired by the human brain that have been trained on a massive database of intact ancient Greek scripts. It learns the style, the structure, the common phrases, the grammatical rules from thousands upon thousands of known examples. And here's where things get really exciting. Some of the inscriptions that Pythia has helped restore. They hint at previously unknown political power moves, reveal forgotten cultural taboos, and even suggest ancient cover-ups, events and ideas that were literally lost to history because the physical evidence was broken. Suddenly, these old, silent marble slabs are starting to talk again, and what they're saying, thanks to AI filling in the gaps, might just force us to rewrite significant parts of what we thought we knew about the sophisticated world of ancient Greece. It begs the question, doesn't it? What other crucial pieces of our past are hiding in plain sight, shattered in the ruins, just waiting for an AI like Pythia to help us put them back together? With AI leading the way, the past isn't staying buried for long. Now, let's talk about the real head-scratchers, the Mount Everests of ancient linguistics. For centuries, the writings of entire civilizations have sat in silence, represented by symbols that no living person could definitively read. Their meanings were lost in the mists of time, presenting some of the most profound challenges to archaeologists and linguists. But now, artificial intelligence is stepping up to the plate, attempting to do what generations of human experts haven't quite managed: cracking the uncrackable codes. We're talking about some of the most mysterious scripts ever discovered, chief among them the Indus Valley script from ancient Pakistan and India, and the Rongo script from distant Easter Island in the Pacific. For the Indus script, we have thousands of short inscriptions on seals and pottery dating back over 4,500 years, older than many Egyptian hieroglyphs. Yet, despite countless attempts, no one has been able to fully decipher it. Is it even a language, or just symbols? For Rongo, we have wooden tablets covered in unique glyphs, a potential key to the lost history of the people who built those giant stone heads. But again, the meaning remains elusive. There's no Rosetta Stone, no helpful bilingual text to provide a key. All we have are rows upon rows of strange symbols carved into stone or wood, silently waiting to spill their secrets. Until now, perhaps. AI researchers are throwing the latest technology at these ancient puzzles. They are training sophisticated neural networks, AI systems that can learn and adapt to pore over images of these symbols. These AIs are designed to spot recurring patterns, test complex hypotheses about grammar and syntax, and even simulate how languages might evolve over time, looking for connections we might have missed. And guess what? It seems to be working. These algorithms are starting to find intriguing connections, recurring sequences of symbols, and underlying structures where previously many saw only chaos. Take the Indus Valley script. For decades, some scholars argued it might not represent a true spoken language at all. But now, AI analysis is showing strong signs that it does follow consistent linguistic rules, exhibiting patterns characteristic of language. That changes everything. It's a huge step towards confirming it as one of the world's great undeciphered writing systems. And it's a similar story with Rongo. It looks like a cryptic message in a bottle from the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And finally, machines are beginning to trace potential grammatical patterns that could, just maybe, crack it wide open. If these AI models continue to make progress at this pace, we're not just talking about a technological feat. We're talking about potentially rewriting entire chapters of ancient history, giving voice to cultures we currently know so little about. Let's shift our focus now to ancient China and ask a rather unusual question. What could burned animal bones possibly tell us about one of the world's oldest continuous civilizations? As it turns out, quite a lot. Deep in China's ancient past, during the Shang dynasty, we're talking over 3,000 years ago, around 1600 to 1046 BC, rulers and diviners practiced a fascinating form of fortune-telling. They would carve questions onto ox shoulder blades or turtle shells, then apply heat until the bone or shell cracked. The patterns of these cracks were then interpreted as answers or prophecies from the gods or ancestral spirits. These carved bones and shells are now known as oracle bones. But crucially, the questions carved onto them weren't just random symbols. They represent the earliest known form of Chinese writing, the direct ancestor of the characters still used today. For centuries, scholars have painstakingly studied these fragments, trying to decipher the ancient script and understand the concerns of the Shang people. It's incredibly difficult work, given the age and fragmentation of the material. But, you guessed it, AI has stepped into the fray. Researchers have now built cutting-edge artificial intelligence models specifically designed to read this archaic lettering. Think about that. AI translating symbols carved over 3,000 years ago, doing it almost in real time by using advanced techniques like deep learning, trained on thousands of scanned images of these precious artifacts. The AI can connect subtle patterns in the characters, variations that human eyes often miss, allowing it to decode messages about warfare, predict the weather, understand royal rituals, and even interpret omens received from the spirit world. This isn't just about rediscovering old-school fortune-telling methods. These oracle bones hold the very roots of modern Chinese writing and offer invaluable insights into how one of the longest continuous cultures on Earth first took shape. Some of the inscriptions decoded by AI hint at divine messages that directly influenced major political decisions. Others have revealed dark prophecies, warnings of impending disasters or betrayals within the royal court. The kind of dramatic stuff you might expect from an ancient thriller novel, not from dusty old artifacts. AI is helping us read the foundational documents of Chinese civilization like never before. For many years, the intricate script of the ancient Maya civilization, which flourished in Mesoamerica, covering parts of modern-day Mexico and Central America, stood as one of the toughest writing systems in the world to crack. It wasn't just an alphabet, it was a complex, beautiful puzzle blending logograms, symbols representing whole words, and syllabograms, symbols representing sounds, often incorporating intricate images of animals, gods, and sacred geometry. Trying to decipher faded inscriptions on stone monuments or the handful of surviving painted books called codices was an immense challenge. Experts had to manually, painstakingly, try to separate each individual glyph or symbol from the often crowded carvings or faded pages, attempting to make sense of the visual chaos before even beginning translation. It was slow, meticulous work. But now, artificial intelligence is slicing through that mystery almost like a hot knife through butter, or perhaps more aptly, like a sharp obsidian blade, a tool the Maya themselves valued. Researchers have trained highly sophisticated AI systems known as fine-tuned foundation models, basically the brainiacs of the machine learning world, to do something crucial: accurately segment Maya hieroglyphs. That sounds simple, perhaps, just separating one symbol from the next. But in practice, it's a total game changer. Where experts once spent hours or days carefully tracing and isolating glyphs, AI can now do it in seconds, automatically identifying individual signs and their structural components within a larger text block with what's being called freakish precision. This segmentation step is absolutely key. You can think of it as automatically organizing all the letters of the alphabet scattered randomly on a page before you can even begin to read a sentence. And with this AI-powered breakthrough in efficiently processing the glyphs, scholars are now able to focus more effectively on unlocking the deeper meanings hidden within these texts, learning more about royal bloodlines, the history of ancient wars, sophisticated astronomical records, and even details about ritual sacrifices. Some glyphs that were previously dismissed as merely decorative elements are now being recognized thanks to this clearer view as important names, specific dates, or even dire warnings, messages that were practically hiding in plain sight all along. The more glyphs AI helps to segment and analyze, the clearer the picture becomes. It seems the Maya weren't just keeping track of time with their famous calendars. Some interpretations suggest they might have been trying to understand, predict, or maybe even control it through their rituals and writings. It leaves us with a real mind bender. What other profound secrets have been sitting silently on ancient temple walls or buried within those fragile codices, unread for centuries, just waiting for the right technology, the right AI, to finally decode them? Let's broaden our scope again and look at two more ancient writing systems, relics from forgotten worlds buried beneath the layers of time. These are Ugaritic and Linear B. For a long time, understanding these scripts was largely confined to a small circle of dedicated experts. But now, artificial intelligence is cracking their codes and digging up secrets that history nearly managed to erase completely. Researchers have developed something called a neural decipherment model. It's powered by complex mathematical techniques, including minimum cost flow algorithms. Yes, it's about as high-tech as it sounds. Using this AI approach, they've made truly significant progress in decoding these challenging ancient scripts. Let's break that down. For Ugaritic, an alphabetic script used in the ancient city of Ugarit in modern-day Syria around the 14th to 12th centuries BC, AI has achieved a notable 5.5% jump in decipherment accuracy. That might not sound huge, but for a language with limited known text, every percentage point is a victory. But the results with Linear B are even more staggering. Linear B was a syllabic script used for writing Mycenaean Greek, the earliest attested form of Greek, found on clay tablets in Crete and mainland Greece dating back to the Bronze Age, around 1450 BC. Using AI, researchers have achieved a whopping 67.3% accuracy in identifying cognates, words that share a common origin, between Linear B and later forms of Greek. For languages that were practically unreadable outside that small circle of specialists, these AI-driven breakthroughs are absolutely major. So, why does this matter? Because these aren't just dry academic exercises in deciphering old squiggles. Ugaritic texts give us invaluable glimpses into forgotten mythologies, religious practices, and the early roots of other Semitic languages, like Hebrew and Arabic. Linear B, on the other hand, is directly tied to the very beginnings of Greek civilization. Its decipherment unlocks crucial information about their economy, trade networks, political administration, and even their early religious systems, the precursors to the gods and myths of classical Greece. AI isn't just reading dead languages here, it's essentially giving voice back to entire cultures that vanished millennia ago, leaving only fragmentary clues behind. And here's the kicker, the really intriguing part. Some of the newly translated lines from both Ugaritic and Linear B texts suggest things that challenge previous assumptions. They hint at more complex social and power structures than previously thought, reveal details about specific cult rituals, and map out extensive trade networks that may reshape our understanding of the interconnected world of the late Bronze Age Mediterranean. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many more lost languages, holding who knows what secrets about our shared human story, are just out there, waiting in forgotten archives or buried underground, for the right AI algorithm to crack them wide open because it seems clear that once these powerful machines get going, the past doesn't stay buried for very long.